Just go back to Safari Park Hotel, where we understand that Cabinet Secretary for Education, Fred Matiang'i, is making an address. Let's listen in.
Now it's not an emergency. The problem now is food security for our people. So it has become a serious problem, and we want to urge all the government agencies, the county government of Baringo, even to call for an immediate
as we go along. You cannot wake up in the morning when you are in a critical sector like education and comment about virtually everything around. We have to operate in an orderly manner. We have everyone who is a role player in the university sector here. All our chancellors are here, all our chairs of council are here, all our vice chancellors are here. You have seen even the Salaries and Remuneration Commission. We are all here and we are having a conversation. So I don't want to put the cart before the horse and start commenting on an issue when we are actually in the middle of discussions. It's not right. So please, today you'll have to understand. I thought you were having a question to ask me about how we intend to reform university education and what we are doing and so on. Yeah. So, yes. The audit is being carried out by the Commission for University Education. And in doing so, the Commission for University Education is actually playing its regulatory function. If you read the statute, that is part of their mandate. They are doing the work that they were created to do, to look at the universities across the country, to be sure that they are adhering to the principles and regulations with which they were established, whether they are meeting our needs for quality education, whether they are meeting our needs for ensuring access to education across the country. We are looking at enrollment, who has been enrolled in the university, what kind of programs are there, are those programs approved by Commission for University Education, how have universities been interfacing with other players in the sector. They are looking at that. I am waiting for the report. They have until 31st of January. So I'm waiting for the report. When the report comes, we'll discuss it in the sector and see what it tells us on what we need to do next. The focus is, as I said in here, reform is not an option. We have to reform the way in which we are delivering education in the country. We started reforms in the basic education sector. It's time for us to look at the tertiary education sector and look at university education across the board. It is not easy, but I am so happy that we have a very successful conversation going on now, and all players are here. That is the beauty about it. Because when the sector comes together to discuss, there can never be an issue that the sector cannot deal with.
So in the meeting, you noted about complaints of students coming to you saying we cannot graduate because we don't have much FCP. But there are also those complaints that some of the learners who get university education actually don't attend classes, but at the end of the day, they get those certificates. And in your discussions in the media, I did say that at one point when you get this report you are waiting, for example, you might revoke some of this question of certificates.
No, the law is very clear about this. And let me tell you, my good friends and fellow Kenyans, we are determined, especially because our president has demanded of us to operate and do everything we are doing strictly within the law. And the law is very clear about this. The law gives the Commission for University Education the regulatory authority over universities. They are the ones who look at the quality of programs, they are the ones who approve the programs, they are the ones who look at who has broken what law. Then individual university tenants will look at the reports that they get or any complaints or any issues that arise about specific programs. Where there is need to make certain changes that are absolutely necessary, they will be made. All I know, and I've said this publicly, is not actually even in news anyway, because I've said it before, that I can see from some of the preliminary reports I'm receiving that clearly we have certain challenges in certain institutions. I would not lie to the public. I have to be very honest. I can see there are certain challenges. It is true that in certain cases, there are students who have come to me or their parents who have spoken to me about their children who cannot graduate from university because their marks cannot be traced and so on and so forth. All this is being put together. And I said it even here. I was very candid with the vice chancellors in this meeting. We cannot have that kind of situation in the country. Whether they are in public or private universities, they are bound by the law. And in cases of that kind, they know what will happen. And action will be taken. And when action is taken, the regulator will take the necessary action. And where it becomes absolutely necessary and where mistakes have been committed that will cause some of these people to lose their letters of interim authority, or where their charters will be brought to question, they will be questioned. And no one is going to be spared. That's why I said when you have so many students complaining to you, like a number of students have complained to me, in one university last year, it's not a secret. About 600 students could not graduate because their marks could not be traced. I cannot pretend about this. This issue is there, the public knows about it, and we know about it. But we must do something about it. It's our responsibility. The public expects that we will act, and we are going to act on these issues. And I want to wait for the audit because it's going to look into all these issues, and then from there we will tell you what course of action we will take.
Lastly, from me, sir, comment about the cost of education, because many universities say that some of the courses we are offering our students are expensive, and we've talked about the DUC, where you giving funds to universities. Maybe elaborate on that, and moving forward, is the government looking at the possibility of paying, meaning giving universities more money to advance? That has been discussed.
I do not know whether you have had the opportunity to look at the DUC report. Have you looked at it?
To be honest, I have not.
Okay. So this is it. The differentiated unit cost is very simple. It is actually us as government who are looking at how we are funding courses in the universities. And let me tell you the very simple formula in the DUC, and we probably will make the report available to you soon so that you can see it if you have not, those of you have not seen it. But I'm sure some of you have seen it. We had a team together that looked at the cost of university programs across the board, from the most expensive to the least expensive. And when you look at the cost of a course, you include what do you actually need to have a course, like dental surgery. What do you need? What will it cost you in terms of staff? What will it cost you in terms of equipment, and so on and so forth. And then this cost was listed. Now, it is a completely common sense approach to funding university education that if you have 100 students in dental surgery, we give you the amount of money commensurate with the number of students you have. If you have 200 students in the Faculty of Commerce, we tell you the cost of Bachelor of Commerce is X. And so we give you X times the number of students that you have. So that when universities declare their capacities, that is the basis upon which now we give the funding. In the past, we didn't have a formula. I must say, quite frankly, that we didn't have a formula in the past of funding a university education. The challenge usually is that we have money, and if we are not careful about how we distribute the money, you find that some institutions in the long run are either staffed or they get less resources, as it were. So DUC is basically trying to achieve equity in the manner in which the government funds programs. I am not aware, honestly speaking, that given the numbers of students that we have in the universities, truth be told, there is no country anywhere on earth that can tell you we have all the money we need for everything we need to do, including for everyone who must go to university. That is the more reason why we need to have a formula of sharing the cake amongst universities, the formula of sharing the resources that we have amongst universities. And then, of course, we go to the rest of it, we put it in student loans, in the Higher Education Loans Board, so that we facilitate the students to get education. So we are fine. All that we are doing is that ensuring that we use the resources that we have in a responsible manner and in a manner that gives everyone their due. Because if you turned up, for example, there's a past experience where you would find if one university gets 500 million, and that 500 million is not based on anything. They have just come and said, we need 500 million, and you give them 500 million. You must explain your need. DUC is a formula through which universities are supposed to explain their need. Explain your need by saying, I have 200 students in medicine, and we work the cost of a student in medicine. I have 200 students in dental surgery. We look at the cost of that, Bachelor of Arts, Bachelor of Education, and so on and so forth, until we give you money that you will use to offer the programs that you're offering. So I do not foresee any problem at all as far as it's concerned. Our allocation from the Treasury is okay, as it were. And if we stay in this trajectory, we manage the resources that we have effectively, we are fine. And I personally am not worried about anything, and my colleagues in the sector are not. The issue is, how do we use the resources that we are given? That is the issue that we are trying to answer with the DUC. And you will see, once we do that, we achieve equity very well. That every university gets the resources that they actually deserve to get. Otherwise, when you don't have a formula to do something, then my personal whims come in. And if I like you very much, I give you more than I give him. And if I have a